morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Speak On It. I'm your boy, R.W. Coolins. First and foremost, giving honor to the guy who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. How's everybody doing out there? Speak on the show, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, every Saturday morning. It's what we do here on the Speak On It show. I want to say welcome to everybody. Welcome to first-time listeners. Welcome to long-term listeners. Welcome to anybody that choose to tune in today, because you could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I gotta laugh a little bit, y'all. Y'all bear with me. Terrence Collins, good morning, my brother. Good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Got the good mornings coming in. Maurice Wigfall. Good morning and blessings to all. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you for tuning in. Oh, your phone call too. I ain't forgot about you. How's everybody? Man, I'm in a good mood today. I'm in a good mood. There's a lot of things going on in the world, but guess what? We woke up on this side of the living this morning, so that makes it a positive. But let's go on and jump in this. Let's get the criteria. Let's get the most important things out the way that I've been talking about for a while. www.nass.org. Can I vote? 31 days, y'all. 31 days till election day. 31 days. And counting. 30, might as well say 30 days and a wake up. 30 days and a wake up. 31 days, that military lingo. Let's go ahead and get into this. This is the website. Y'all have seen it. If you haven't seen it, let me walk you through it. Can I vote? www.nass.org. This is the page here. You go there, click on voter registration status right there in the middle with the exclamation point or the capital I, the small case I, whichever way you want to look at it. Then you go here, put in your state. Once you put in your state, then you put in your information. You usually use the last 4 digits of your social security number, or you can put in your first name, last name, date of birth, and the driver's license number for the state you're in. And then you can get in there and find out if you're registered in the right way to vote in this upcoming election, which is 31 days away. No excuses. 31 days away. You got the other places. I don't have them in front of me right now, but I know it's vote.org and vote411.org. Vote.org, vote411.org. There's no excuse for anybody, at this point to show up to the polls and not know what your status is. No excuse. We've been doing this too long. We've been talking about this for too long. There's no excuse for anyone out there who's been listening to this show or even paying attention to what's going on in this world to not know their status before November 5th. Let's just keep it real. There's no excuse. No excuse. James Goodwin, my brother, appreciate you. Good seeing you too, my brother. Appreciate you for tuning in. Sandra Martinez, good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. So yeah, we're within 31 days, y'all. We're within 31 days of an election. Now, there's a lot of us that are my age at this point in our lives where an election, Josh Boyd, good morning, my brother, good morning. Then an election wouldn't be exciting. It wouldn't be any of this. There's a lot of discord going on in the world, a lot of different opinions, because we, as you've heard me say many times, we cannot agree, or we choose not to agree to disagree anymore. But in this election, I'm excited. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm excited. I'm excited because we have people that are being involved in the process now that usually would not be involved in the process. Now, people can say that's a good thing, it's a bad thing because you don't know who they're voting for. But the biggest part of it is people are getting out to vote. That's the most important thing. Your vote matters. In the Electoral College, they need to eliminate the Electoral College because we've passed that, of course. However, this is what we have at this time. This is what we got to work with. Your vote matters in the Electoral College counting. Now, we can get into all the gerrymandering and all this kind of stuff that's going on. Yeah, my brother, cool for this. We can get into the gerrymandering and all the different things that have been going on, the redlining in different neighborhoods and how they're changing lines so they can get certain Senate seats over this and congressional seats and all these different things. But the voting process is very important. Brian Hoodie, good morning. Good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. It's very important. And I'll say it this way. There aren't a lot of things, in this nation that everyone has an opportunity to do. Voting is one. Now, mind you, let me clear something up now. There's a lot of people out here that are trying to take that away from you as well. Let's just be real. There's a lot of people in politics and in those areas and those pockets who feel, and it's been said out loud, that women shouldn't be able to vote. African Americans shouldn't be able to vote. Minorities, immigrants that are here legally and all these things shouldn't be able to vote. There's a lot of discord about who should vote, who shouldn't be able to vote. We got felons, people with felony records who they say can't vote in certain states. There's these laws and everything. Okay. But one of the biggest things and one of the major things that we have as a freedom here in this country is the opportunity to vote. If you look at any other country, there's a lot of countries that don't have it, don't have the opportunity. There's a lot of countries that have their own way of counting the votes as far as, who they want in. And if you look at it around the world, if you add it up, you have more dictators than you have presidents. You have more authoritative figures than you have figures that are ruling a country that has the freedoms that we have. So I want everybody to think about that when we're out here and we're going to the polls, and not to overlook the fact that there's people out here that don't have your best interests in hand and want to take that away from you. But the fact that at this point, at right now, for everything that our ancestors and people in the past fought for, we still have that freedom now, and people are taking advantage of it. Just wanted to put that out there. But this week, while we're talking about voting, Kamala Harris and Liz Cheney did a joint speech. And in there, they were in the birthplace of the Republic, in the birthplace of where the Republican Party was started, which is Wisconsin. Liz Cheney now is supporting Kamala Harris. She went out there, she did her speech. She talked about being on the January 6th committee and how the evidence they found and everything against Donald Trump and all these things. But she's endorsed Kamala Harris. They stood up there. They laid their facts out on why you should vote for Kamala Harris. Let's just be real. And there's a lot of finagling of who's getting endorsements from here. Kamala Harris has received a lot of endorsements from Republicans, former Republicans that were in Donald Trump's last cabinet, and so on and so forth. A lot of them that say they can't vote for him again because of what went on in the past and everything like that. Donald Trump also this week, last night, matter of fact, he posted something on his Truth Social because, I don't go on there, but I seen this. And he said that he had a news flash and said Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase, had endorsed Trump for president. This is what he posted on his Truth Social media. 20 minutes later, Mr. Jamie Dimon came back and said he has not endorsed anyone. He has not endorsed a candidate. These are the things that people need to pay attention to, because if you're on Truth Social and you're paying attention to only Truth Social, or you're on Facebook, or you're on Instagram, when you're on these places where people are putting their narratives and everything out there, and you don't go back and read for yourself and try to find out the facts, then you would believe that Donald Trump was endorsed by Jamie Dimon, the JP Morgan Chase CEO. However, 20 minutes after he posted that, Jamie Dimon came out and said, I haven't endorsed anybody. I have not endorsed any candidate. But the people that follow Truth Social won't see that. Probably because Mr. Dimon is not on Truth Social. And the things they put on Truth Social are only for those people that follow him on Truth Social. Let's just be real. That's what it comes down to. Deborah Harris, good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. So these are the things that leading in these next 31 days that we really need to pay attention to. And I'm going to do my best to keep you informed on what's real, what's not real, give you the facts and everything. But I want to step back for a minute before we get into some of the things I want to talk about. And I want to put this picture back up that we put up last week. And these are our two candidates. And I was thinking before I came on, we know these two candidates as a former president and a vice president, current vice president. And one thing that we do is we hear how she's not qualified. We never hear anything about how he's not qualified. Why? Because he was president at one time. He's not a person of color. You know, the birther aspect, all the different things you can think about that they've said about Kamala Harris, but you never hear this put on Donald Trump. But I want everybody to step back for a minute and think about this in the big scope. Now, I'm not here to change nobody's vote and make you think different about it, but you're going to vote how you're going to vote. Let's just be real. But what I want to do is say this. Think about if you had both of these people's resumes as a hiring manager on your desk. And I want you to eliminate the fact that one is a current vice president and one was a former president. And I want you to look at everything you know about these two people before they got to the point that they're at now or before the election of 2020. You have a proven college graduate, cum laude, if I remember, district attorney, senator, and then you have a businessman. Some would say a failed businessman because of the bankruptcies, lawsuits, redlining against people of color for renting their apartments. And so, I mean, let's just look at the resume. I didn't write it all down, but I want you to think about everything you know about these two people and eliminate president and current vice president. I want you to eliminate that from the record. And look at their record and tell me from what you know about these two people outside of the positions they used to hold and currently hold, who do you look at as being more qualified to hold the position? Now, someone will say, well, what about their policies? You can look at their policies. If you look at their policies, who is going to do more for you going forward rather than looking back? Because everybody wants to concentrate on what Trump did in his 4 years, but no one wants to concentrate on the nefarious acts that happened during his 4 years. They want to overlook the fact that he tried to overthrow a free and fair election. They want to overlook the fact of how he was pandering to authoritative figures in other countries. They want to look past that fact and they want to say, we don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about January 6th. They want to talk about the COVID pandemic. They want to talk about all those things, but they want you to look at he's running now. Yeah. But then they want to go back and they want to concentrate on the last 3.5 years of Kamala Harris being vice president, where in all reality, if everybody knows, and this young man, I wish I'd have put the video up, this young man that they had in a town hall, let you know that the vice president serves at the pleasure and the luxury of the president, which the vice president is assigned certain tasks. That's it. Doesn't make policy, just goes along for the ride, helps out, steps in when they need to, oversees the break tiebreaker at the Congress and the Senate. That's it. But look at this. Think about it. Think about it long and hard. Now, I know everybody's about to go to the polls. Sandra Martinez, good morning. Good morning. Big Al, my brother. Good morning. Appreciate you. Everybody's about to go to the polls in 31 days. And that gives you 30 days to do your research. Not only on these two candidates, but on all the candidates that will show up on your ballot. There is no excuse for anybody to go to the polls and not know what they need to know about anybody that's on the ballot. No excuse. No excuse. And if you go to the ballots and the main thing you say is, I'm a Republican, I'm voting all Republican. I'm Democrat, I'm voting all Democrat. That may be your final conclusion, but have you done your research? Have you looked at each and every one of those candidates to see what they stand on, what is not being said about what they stand on? Because you can do this research and find out what they voted for, what they didn't vote for, what they stand on, what they don't stand on. And I say this specifically for people that states that are going to have judges on the ballot. Look at the cases that they tried. Look at the way their record shows as far as the cases that they tried, because these are people that are going to be in these positions of judges for a lifetime appointments. We need to pay attention to these things. Now, I'm not here to school nobody. I'm not here to try to, make you feel like you don't know nothing. No, I'm here to give you the information that you need so you can make valid choices when you go to the ballot box. That's it. That's it. And November 5th. Now, also, early ballots are starting to be sent out. Mail-in ballots, early voting ballots, and everything are starting to be sent out. We're going to get into that in a few minutes. But all those things are being sent out. If you can vote early, vote early. If you can vote early, vote early. Don't wait till November 5th. Now, some people like to do it on November 5th. That's fine. You do what you do. But if you can vote early, get it in, not have to worry about it, do it ahead of time. Because there's a lot of things that are going to be going on around this election. Not to put any fear in nobody, but there's a lot of things where I'll talk about this in a minute, but that are going to go on that we need to be paying attention to, and we need to do our due diligence. So pay attention, stay on guard, do what we do. That's what we do here on Speak On the Show. We want to give you the information so you know exactly what's going on and how to handle it while you're out there. Let's get into this. Let's go. In the news. Yeah. So this I just found this, and I didn't know this at the time, but I know it now. Back on July 15th, the Trump campaign and the Republican National Committee sued Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and others Monday, July 15th, for allowing federal Veterans Affairs and Small Business Administration sites to be used for voter registration efforts. Now, I want you to listen to that. The Trump administration, Trump campaign, and the Republican National Committee sued Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer and others on Monday, July 15th, for allowing federal Veterans Affairs and Small Business Administration sites to be used for voter registration efforts. In papers filed in federal court in Michigan, the campaign and the RNC contend Whitmer and Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson exceeded their authority when they struck agreements to use the VA and SB offices as voter registration agencies, or VRAs. Under Michigan law, the authority to make such designation is held solely by the legislature, the filing says. So it's not the fact that they couldn't do it. It's the fact that they're saying that the right people didn't do it. Here's where my issue comes in. So you as a candidate and the Republican Party are having a problem with a governor allowing better access to veterans at the VA hospital or at Small Business Administration sites to be able to register to vote. From what I know and what I remember, there's really only one place that you get registered at the time when you're doing something as far as business. And that's when you go and get your driver's license. If I recall, there might be others, chime in if you know. But I know that when I get my driver's license, anytime I go in there and go to a new state or whatever, when I go to get my driver's license changed over, whatever, voter registration comes into play. That's one of the few times, and probably one of the only times I remember any place being accessible for me to actually do my voter registration. Other than in the midst of a campaign and everything, you got people out here walking around doing it and everything. Why you should not have, or why there's a problem with having voter registration in locations where, and especially for veterans at the VA hospital, because some of the veterans we know are wheelchair bound, they're homebound, they come to the VA hospital specifically for appointments. Why wouldn't you not have a place where they can register in a place where you know they're going to come? This is one of those things when I talk about voting, and I talk about where they're trying to hinder the vote or block the vote or put obstacles in the way for you being able to vote. This is one of those things. Now, a lot of people will say, well, it shouldn't be at the VA hospital. Why not? You have people walking around in the mall with clipboards trying to get you to register. I think it all comes down to the point of they're suing not because of where they're doing it, but who. Because if we remember, Donald Trump has a problem with veterans, especially those that are injured in war, because he's saying they're being recognized for being injured. I like the ones that didn't die or escaped or any of that kind of stuff. I'm paraphrasing, but you know what I'm saying. Reggie P. Rowe, good morning, my brother. Let me put you in lights. Good morning, my brother. Appreciate you. But these are the things that are going on behind the scenes. Now, this was back in July, so I missed this one, but it came up. And it said Michigan is the state that Trump won in 2016 and then flipped back to Joe Biden in 2020. It is expected to be a pivotal battleground state in this year's election, which tells you why they're trying to do the lawsuit. The RNC and its members are concerned that defendants' failure to comply with Michigan's statutes governing VRA designation undermines the integrity of elections by increasing the opportunity for individuals to register to vote, even though they are ineligible to do so, and by sowing confusion regarding whether the agencies purporting to offer assistance in registering voters are doing so in accordance with applicable laws. So they try to throw in there that are they actually authorized to be registered to vote? But now the veterans group, the Vet Voice Foundation, has responded to the lawsuit. And it says the Vet Voice Foundation, which is an arm of the progressive veterans group Vote Vets and Priorities USA, a Democratic campaign group, have backed Whitmer's defense. Both organizations initially asked to be a party in the case. However, they were denied that request in August of 2024. They jointly filed an amicus brief on September 27th, which was just a few weeks ago. A press release announcing the filing released by Priorities USA on September 30th said that the suit is meritless. The individuals providing voter registration services are strictly prohibited from partisan activities and from conditioning other services or benefits on either registering or not registering to vote, it read. By aiming to eliminate voter registration at VA and Small Business Association offices, this case threatens to remove a critical avenue for voter registration for Vet Voice Foundation's members, as well as other Michiganders who wish to register to vote. Janessa Goldbeck, CEO of Vet Voice Foundation, said in the same press release, "This case is meritless and frankly insulting to those who have sacrificed in defense of America." Goldbeck said the case is an attempt to stop veterans from registering to vote. And there's another such case led by Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach and Montana Attorney General Austin Knudsen. They're suing the Biden administration over its executive order, which enables federal agencies to help register residents to vote in the courts. This is the same executive order that enabled Whitmer to expand voter registration to VA sites. The AGs involved in the suit filed on August 9th argue Biden's executive order violates and undermines the power vested in states to control their own elections and empowers the current Democratic White House to sway voters to the left. Per the Daily Montanan, Knudsen previously said of the suit, "I will not stand by while the Biden-Harris administration attempts to shamelessly garner votes by employing its own agencies to register voters and disregard states' own voter registration systems, putting the integrity of our elections at risk." Now, that's a mouthful. It's a lawsuit. But I want you to think about this when you look at this. I would say that the only problem I would have from the outside looking in, the only problem I would have with them doing voter registration at the VA, small business administrations, and like anything like that, is if they're actually representing either party in the process of doing the registration. From what I see, voter registration is voter registration. How you register is up to you. I'm just giving you the forms. I'm giving you the information for you to be able to register. Because one of the questions they'll ask first, are you a registered voter? They don't ask you, are you Republican? Are you Democrat? They ask you, are you a registered voter? If you're not a registered voter, they ask if you would like to register. It's up to you how you fill the paperwork out. So in that case, is it meritless? If people are doing something they shouldn't be doing, yes. But if they're just asking people to get on the voter rolls to be registered, that's a whole different conversation. Case in point, you hear the uproar about people getting registered to vote by the Republican Party, but you don't hear them in the uproar about the Republican congressional members or the Republican local legislature taking people off the voter rolls because they may not have voted in the last election or the election before that. You know, it's one of those things. If I'm already registered to vote, whether I do choose to go to the polls or not, you should not be able to just eliminate me from the voter rolls. That's just me. Everyone does not choose to vote in every election. Case in point, every 2 years, we have an election, just like we have every 4 years. Every 2 years, on the second year of after the presidential election, 2 years later, we have Congress, Senate, and local jurisdiction legislation elections. Everybody concentrate on every 4 years, but there's one every 2 years as well in there. But a lot of people don't vote in that time. So if there's a lot of people don't vote, they just choose not to vote at the 2 year mark, but they wait and vote at the 4 year mark, Why are we taking them off the rolls? Because they didn't show up? Unless they're dead, convicted felon, anything that says that you're not authorized to vote by the laws, then yes. But just because you didn't show up to the polls in an election, come on. And the only people doing this are the red states, Republican-run states. Now, people will say, well, man, you always riding Republicans. Well, I'm always riding Republicans because if you look at it, the Republicans are the main ones who are trying to suppress your vote. Let's just be honest. They're the main ones trying to suppress your vote. And they're the main ones putting this propaganda out there that illegal immigrants are able to vote here. If they're illegal immigrants, they are not registered to vote. Illegal immigrants aren't taking your benefits. Illegal immigrants aren't doing these things. And I wish they would stop calling them illegal immigrants. They should call them what they are. Either they're here legally or they're here in the process of legally becoming citizens. You're either legal or you're in the process of becoming legal. That's it. Illegal, that means you jump the wall, came across the rivers and all that. We need to eliminate that from the vocabulary. Case in point, why there's so much discord about what went on in Springfield, Ohio, when J.D. Vance and Donald Trump tried to put this narrative out that Haitian immigrants who are here legally in Springfield, Ohio, were eating the pets. Come on. And it was debunked numerous times by the people in Springfield, Ohio, but they continued to carry on that narrative. Case in point, we're going to transition now into the debate. J.D. Vance and Tim Walz in the debate. J.D. Vance they asked him a question about it. He chose to stand on that. On the debate stage in front of the American people. He also tried to say that Donald Trump saved the Affordable Care Act. During the debate, he said that Donald Trump saved the Affordable Care Act. If people remember, Donald Trump tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act numerous times. The only reason the Affordable Care Act is still in existence to this day is because John McCain, rest his soul, was the final vote that they needed. And he walked up with his thumb up, and then he turned it down. You can pull the video. That's the only reason the Affordable Care Act is still in existence to this day was because of a down vote by John McCain. They've been trying to get rid of it over and over and over again. Pay attention. The things that they're trying to take away more than the things they're trying to do. Hey, my vote, what is she going to do about Israel and the genocide? How long is she going to allow Zionists to lead the U.S. by the nose? We cry broke, but we send $5 billion to Israel. Yes, and see, here's the thing about Israel and what's going on in the Middle East. There's an issue, and let me give you from my point of view. I don't know all the particulars on the genocide and everything that's going on, but I'm a true proponent on the fact that yes, Israel does have the right to defend itself. However, within reason. And I'll say it this, and I'll use it as an example of this. If someone beats me up, which we know won't happen, but if someone beats me up, if someone does something to me, I have the right to defend myself within reason. If someone jumps me and I know who the person is that jumps me, and then I go and track that person down and don't just resort to jumping them, but I intend to murder them, then I've gone to the extreme. That's why the way I look at what's going on in Israel with the Hamas and the Palestine in that situation. Now, the Iran situation coming in and Lebanon and all that, this is discord within the region there. What their agendas are going to be going forward with that, here's the biggest thing that we have to look at. And I'll say it this way, from my opinion. When we talk about the Middle East, and we talk about all the money we're sending to there and Zelensky and in Ukraine against Russia and all these different things, we send money to all these different affairs going on around the country because all around the world, because we look at it as they are our allies, which I understand. But in the same token, we have people sleeping on the streets. We have people that can't afford homes. We have people in this country, as I just mentioned, we have people that are saying that the quote unquote illegal immigrants are coming here taking jobs, money, food, all these different things and saying but we have money to send for war, but not money to feed the poor. That's a Tupac phrase. We have money to support war, but not to feed the poor in this country. Some of those poor are veterans that have served this country that we choose not to support and give help to. So when we talk about what's going on in the Middle East, or we talk about the Ukraine and Russia, we talk about NATO and all these different things, the thing we have to look at is this. We, as American service members, me being a veteran, are stationed all around this world in defense of other countries. One of the things we don't do is have other countries serve in this country to defend this country. We have embassies in this country for other countries, but they're all in one location, Washington, D.C., in one place that they call Embassy Row. So we can keep an eye on them in this country. Now, I know I've gone off a little bit, but what I'm telling you is this. We consider ourselves the most powerful country in the world. Financially, military, all the above. But what we can't do is consider ourselves a country that looks out for our people first and foremost. We invest more money in the militarization to defend this country and other countries than we do to take care of the people who are born and bred in this country and fight for this country on a daily basis, who wear the uniform, as well as those who may not wear the uniform but need help. We have people, when they go into legislation, that look more at the people that need the help rather than the help that is needed. They look at the demographics of the people who want the help to make a decision on whether they're going to help or not. Case in point, we have this argument going on now about what happened with the hurricane. Is there money? Oh, money has been being used, and I think I have it here, but y'all bear with me because I'm going off a little bit this morning, but y'all bear with me. They're saying that the Biden administration has taken money from FEMA specifically to give to the immigrants that are here to house them, to do this, to do that. And we don't have money to take care of the hurricane ravaged people in North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and so on and so forth. But what they're not telling you is it's two different pots of money. It's two different pots of money. So whatever money they were using for the immigrants and helping them out has nothing to do with the hurricane relief that's going on. Now, mind you, FEMA said they may not have enough money to last through the end of the year, but the fiscal year is just about to start October 1st. Remember, they were going to shut the government down, so nobody was going to get any money. What we have to do is look at the big picture. And Sandra Martinez, I know I didn't answer your question specifically because I don't know a whole lot about what's going on in Israel, Hamas, and I will get more educated. I'm going to educate myself. But from what I know from the outside looking in, we send all this money to these countries, but we can't depend on them to do for us. And a lot of people say, well, Donald Trump says that NATO needs to do their fair share. Well, yes, they do need to do their fair share, but it doesn't mean just eliminating us from NATO. North American Treaty Organization, NASA, or whatever it is. I can't remember what it is. NATO, y'all know what it is. But the FEMA thing with this hurricane, there are people dying that have died in North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, all over that area where it was hit with the hurricane, especially up in Asheville, North Carolina, where the dam broke and it's flooding everywhere. But rather than the people that be in the political processes concentrating on what needs to be done for the people, they're concentrating on what is not being done because of some other people. Make it make sense. If I'm an American citizen and I'm a tax-paying American citizen, and you're telling me propaganda that there's no money to help me in the time of a hurricane because there's been money given to people who are trying to become citizens here, and now you can't help me because of that. My question is, well, where is the money? Don't leave out the equation that there's two pots of money. Don't leave out the conversation that I'm lying to tell you that they're taking your money when in all reality, we did have the money. It's just not as much as we need for this situation. This is the same thing that happens when we talk about sending money off to war. We have enough money to fund Ukraine for the last how many years? I don't know the years. We have money to send to Israel, $5 billion here, and all the money we're sending to these different places for war. But if you look back here, where we have poverty, Mississippi, one of the biggest poverty states in the country. We look at what happened with the hurricane. We look at all the different things when they talk about inflation. We don't have money to inject into our own economy to take care of our people, but we got money to fight war. Make it make sense. Now, people will say, well, when you talk about war, you're talking about some of these people trying to take over other countries and everything. Donald Trump, for one, spoke up and said, well, Ukraine just needs to let that go and let Russia have it. No, that doesn't belong to them. So if that's the way we're going to handle things in a new administration, then we're all in trouble. Because there's no way that any politician or anybody on American soil or any American as a whole would say, well, since Mexico has gotten people all across the border in Arizona, that we should just give them Arizona. Doesn't happen that way. But we look at another country and say, just let them have it. What's right about that? Now, I know I went on a tangent, but y'all bear with me. So it says, Trump said during a rally in Michigan on Thursday that Harris who has no direct control over FEMA or any other federal agency, has spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal immigrants. In reality, some FEMA money has been spent to house migrants, but the funds are part of a program that is entirely separate and unrelated to the FEMA Disaster Fund, which the agency says is fully funded to deal with the current crisis. As Helene approached across the U.S. last week, Congress passed an additional $20 billion in FEMA disaster relief funding. The only lawmakers to vote against the funding were Republicans. While the Biden administration has not diverted any FEMA money to migrants, Trump himself faced criticism for diverting FEMA funds to detain migrants while he was president. So there's two sides. He's saying that Kamala Harris and them have used the money from FEMA that they can't help with the hurricane relief to house immigrants, illegal immigrants, as they say. But during Trump's administration, he took money out to detain illegal immigrants, per se. Which one's worse? Which one's fact? Which one's false? Abel Wheaton, good morning. Appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. Trump was also denounced over his response to Hurricane Maria's devastating impact on Puerto Rico in 2017. How soon we forget, including blocking relief funds to the U.S. territory. In a True Social post this week, Trump claimed that the federal government and Democratic state officials were going out of their way to not help people in Republican areas in the aftermath of Helene. There does not appear to be any credible evidence to support Trump's claim, with Republican governors in affected states having instead thanked the government for a prompt disaster response. Deborah Harris, remember ICE? Yeah, the ICE thing. I had that wrote down somewhere and I can't find it. But the thing about ICE was they were taking money away from ICE, which is, I can't remember the name of it. It's dealing with immigration. I'm sorry. But the money that was supposed to be going to ICE, they were using, and they were taking money away from there. And I can't remember where they were putting that, but it wasn't being used for what it was being supposed to be used for. These things all happened under the last administration. But we have this short memory. What happened between 7 years ago, 2016 to 2020? We have a short memory of the things that went on. The pandemic, the response to that, how many people died? Throwing paper towels at people in Puerto Rico who needed more than paper towels. They needed funding that he stopped and wouldn't give them. Now, I don't want anybody to think that I'm hell-bent against Donald Trump and all glorious and happy about Kamala Harris. What I am is a visionary. And I can see what the difference is going to be for my life between the two. Because I've seen what the difference was in my life when we had the president in office back in 2016 to 2020. We all lost loved ones. And here's the thing. Let's just go here. Brian Hoodie. Some people have selective amnesia. Yeah. Selective amnesia. That's exactly what it is. Let's go here for a minute. I want people to think back to 2016 to 2020. And the one thing that everyone wants to bring up about 2016 to 2020 is the stock market. Everyone talked about their 401k. Everybody talked about how great their 401k was doing, and they could do this, they could do that, and my life was better and everything. But if everybody would sit back and think for a minute, racism was at an all-time high between 2016 to 2020. Not that it's gone down now, but between 2016 and 2020, racism, misogyny, all those things were at an all-time high. And then you have people that run around and say, my life was better. For who? The select few it was good for, not for the masses, for the select few. But that selective amnesia, as Brian Hoodie mentioned, is the problem. That's where we have to sit back and start doing our research and trying to look at the bigger picture of what's really going on. Because between 2016 and 2020, we had government shutdowns. The whole country was shut down because of the COVID pandemic, because it was a hoax. It was this. And then when we finally got the vaccinations, then it was, don't take the vaccination. You don't know what they're putting in it. Don't do this. Don't do that. All this propaganda of the negatives of everything rather than the positives of what will come from it after we lost millions and millions of people to a pandemic. Sandra Martinez, sir, regarding the immigrants, those in the process or illegal, read what the construction movers and shakers say. We need them or no construction. Fact check. Those are the construction labor base. Well, and that's the thing. Here's where, and I get what you're saying. And when it comes to the labor is what you're putting here, right? Read what the construction movers and shakers say. We need them or no construction, right? So I'll ask this question. This is not a pushback or anything like that, but I'll ask this question when we talk about the immigrant population. Are we only happy or satisfied when we talk about immigration as far as the boost in economy? Because I think here's one thing that gets lost in the fact when we talk about immigration to this country. When we talk about immigration to this country, what gets lost in the fact is these people are fleeing here for a better life, for better opportunities. The people that left Haiti, the Haitians that they were talking about in Springfield, Ohio, do people forget what happened in Haiti? They killed the president of Haiti. There was a mass overtake of the government in Haiti. Do you think those people wanted to stay there and deal with that, or did they come here for a better life? And then you got people disparaging them, saying that they're eating the cats and dogs of the neighborhood of the people's dogs and cats in the neighborhood that they live in, who are good, upstanding citizens in that neighborhood, according to the people in that neighborhood. The people that are fleeing these countries aren't coming here just because, and I'm going to say this again, and I've said it before and I'll continue to say it. If you pay attention, when we talk about an immigration crisis, they always talk about the border, the southern border. When people come across the southern border, what do they look like? They're brown people, as the politicians like to say, they're brown people. Nobody talks about the immigration coming from Europe. When the people come from Europe and they land in this country and they overstay their visas, they're illegal immigrants, but no one talks about that. When they go through Canada and come across the Canadian border and stay here and overstay their visa, they're illegal immigrants. No one talks about that. When they come in from Asia, in the Asian Pacific, and they come here in this country through California and they overstay their visas and they're illegal immigrants, no one talks about that. The biggest thing we want to talk about is the southern border. But the thing about the southern border is there are places set up at the southern border for people to come in, check in, do their paperwork, and come in no different than they're coming from Europe, no different than they're coming from Asia, and no different than they're coming in from Canada. The problem with the southern border is not who's coming in. It's what they look like and what they're bringing to this country. And you hear them talk about crime and they're sending their worst people. There are worse people coming from Europe, Asia, and Canada, just like there are across the southern border. But they don't want to talk about that. The reason is they want to put fear in you that the people coming across the southern border are coming here to destroy your life, to take everything away that you've built, to do anything and everything against anything and everything that this country's about, freedom, and be able to practice the same freedoms that you have, but they've come here in a different way. The only difference, I was born here, they're trying to migrate here to become better citizens in life, to have a better life. But what? No, nobody wants to talk about, let's be real. Melania Trump would not be here if she didn't marry him. Her whole family came over on chain migration because of him. That's a whole family. Came because she got married. Not they got married, she got married. J.D. Vance, his wife, his family was immigrants. They were illegal at one time until they got the paperwork, just like anybody else that comes in this country. It's a process. But we're not running around here calling people of certain skin tones or people married to certain people illegal immigrants at a time. We're only talking about the ones at the southern border. Let me calm down, because it upsets me. It upsets me for the simple fact of we cannot sit here as American citizens and try to say that these people are okay and these people are not just because of how they look and where they come from. I'll go out on a limb and say if you got 100 of them lined up at the border right now, out of those 100, you may have one or two that are having nefarious claims in their country that are trying to come into this country. But does that mean that they're trying to come in here and cause discord? They're coming in here to be criminals and all that? No. This is propaganda that started back in 2015 when he came down the escalator. And it's been going on ever since. It's been going on ever since. Every president has had an opportunity to fix the immigration plan, to fix immigration and how it's done. Because here's the thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but it's reality, as I just said. The immigration process is the same at each border that you can come in, but they only concentrate on one. They concentrate on one because not because of the way, not because of who's coming, but in the way they're coming. They're coming across walking. They're coming across swimming across lakes. They're coming across and trying to get to the border to do it the right way. And then they want to talk about the cartel smuggling people in and all these things. Is it true? Probably so. It does happen. But you can't hold everybody guilty or accountable for the few. Let's open our eyes, people. We got to sometimes we got to step back for a minute. Big Perk, appreciate you, bro. Sometimes we got to step back for a minute and let me talk to my people that look like me for a minute. Y'all gonna get a little mad, but I don't care. I don't care this morning. For all the people that look like me, brown complected people in this country who have a problem with immigration at the way it is going right now, and the people trying to immigrate here or migrate here, however you want to say it, how soon we forget what our ancestors went through for you to be able to sit here and have a problem with immigration. I said it. How soon we forget what every one of our ancestors had to go through for you to be able to sit here and have an opinion about people trying to migrate here legally. How soon we forget. How soon we forget that you still aren't even able to practice the freedoms consistently of everything that has been promised to every American in this country. How soon we forget that we sit back and we talk about the Byron Donalds, the Ben Carsons, the Clarence Thomases, Candace Owens, and all these people about them being sellouts and coons. And I said it this morning, sellouts, coons, Uncle Toms, and all that. But then you have the nerve to have a problem with the people who are trying to migrate here because they want a better life. Let that marinate. How ignorant do you sound when you are standing on the shoulders of everyone before you who had to fight for the freedoms that you got right now, and you don't even have them all? But when someone tells you that they're taking your jobs, you get an uproar because they say they're black jobs, and you ride right along with it. You're ignorant. I said it. You're ignorant. If you're going to go along with that propaganda that they're taking your jobs and all that kind of stuff, you need to sit down and do a history lesson about what your people went through in order to be looked at not even as equal in this country, but citizens in this country. The same things they fought for then, we are still fighting for now. But you got a problem because when they say brown people, you don't want to be included in that conversation. But the same thing they're dealing with is the same thing we dealt with without the damn shackles. Call it what you want. Sandy Martinez. We are capitalists. We want and need cheap labor. We want a lot for cheap, no complaints, no whine, and they won't turn down working in 110, 120 degree heat. We do not let them in because we nice. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get it. Deborah Harris, right? San Martinez taking our jobs, looking at the Indian and the Chinese. The thing is this. I'll say it this way. Taking our jobs. When I hear that, what throws me about that is that unemployment is in an all-time low right now. Not an all-time low, but it's lower. It's lower than it has been in a while. Let's put it that way. When we talk about the jobs that they're coming and they're doing and they're supposedly taking, most of the jobs that these people that are coming here to do or they choose to do are jobs that most Americans don't want to do. Let me say it again. The jobs that they're coming to do, most Americans don't want to do. Everyone I know, most people I know, contract out, landscaping. You might have somebody over that's an American citizen, but who's the main ones working? Landscaping, crop picking. I want you to think all the jobs that they have and show these migrants, immigrants working and doing at this time are the same jobs, most of the same jobs that we did during slave labor. And we got people like us that have an attitude and a problem with them coming here because they're trying to find a better life. You know what I think? And I'm going to say it out loud. When I talk about my people, black people, you know why we get upset? Because we still have a slave mentality when it comes to this. We look at what they're able to come here and do. We talk about them opening businesses. We talk about them coming here and being able to get these loans and be able to get this and get that. And it's like, wait a minute. So you have the same opportunities per se, but you didn't take advantage of them. But someone else coming here who has this mindset that I'm going to do everything I can to take advantage of the freedoms that I have here because I didn't have them there. And now you're mad. Now, don't get me wrong. When we talk about illegal, if they're not here in the process that they're supposed to be, I'm cool with that. Do what we have to do to make them legal, or don't just talk about deporting everybody. Is that the solution? Get rid of every damn body? Reggie P. Rose, you mean the black jobs? Yeah, those jobs. What are we going to do? Deport. You know, this deportation thing, they did do deportation during Barack Obama's time as well for people that were here illegally. But I want to ask you a question. When is the last time you heard about a mass deportation of people that have overstayed their visas here in the United States of America from Europe, Asia, or Canada? You haven't, and you won't. Because in most of those cases coming from Europe, they have the complexion for the protection. I said, be mad if you want. At me, do what you got to say. Hey, it is what it is. They have the complexion for the protection coming from Europe that they're not looking for them when they overstay their visa. But we got a whole bunch of people down at that damn border. You do the math. You do the math. Is immigration a problem? Yes. In the sense that we have not prepared this country and have the resources to do immigration at the level and the time periods that we need to do it. That's why you have people that are in this country that their visas run out and everything, and they're just free to roam, and they're here illegally. But we don't have the resources to go out and find these people. But I'll tell you this. Overstay your visa in Italy. Overstay your visa in Germany. Overstay your visa in some of these other foreign countries and see how quick you'll be locked up or sent back to where you came from. There's a process. There is a process. The only reason it's an issue, and I'm going to say it again, the only reason the southern border has become the issue it has become is because in 2015, when that man decided to come down that escalator and said they're sending their worst, their crimes, their rapists, the this and that, people took that and they ate it up like a piece of candy. And it still goes on to this day. Now, am I defending illegal immigration? Hell no. I'm telling you, look at the bigger picture of what immigration is about. And you've heard me say it before. You can't have the Statue of Liberty stand up there with that big sign on it, bring me your poor, your downtrodden, all that, and then tell them, you know, is that only coming from the over across the what is it, Atlantic? Because it's not at the southern border. Come on, y'all. Immigration has been an issue for years under Democratic or Republican administration in the United States. Yeah, it's been an issue, and they've never done anything to do to try to change the way it works. They would rather put up walls that have never been built. They would rather throw propaganda about criminals and the cartel bringing people over for money and all these different things you put in there, but no one's coming up with a solution. And the last thing I'll say about this, because we're at the end of this show and I done went on this for long. Let me go, Sue King. Good morning. Good morning. One thing I'll say about this is that I want people to remember this part. Out of everything I just said about immigration, illegal or otherwise, about 3 months ago, Congress and the Senate came up with the most, what did they call it? The best border immigration crisis plan ever in this country. Bipartisan, mind you. Bipartisan, for y'all that don't know, is Republican and Democrat agreed upon this. They had it to go to a vote. Former President Donald Trump said, no, don't do it. It's going to hurt my chances if we come up with a solution for the border. Let me say that again. Donald Trump, your former president, our former president of this United States of America, was more concerned about him having a chance of winning re-election in 2024 than solving the border crisis, as they say, that is going on year after year after year, as Deborah Harris said, Democratic and Republican administrations. And they said this plan was the most comprehensive plan ever written to deal with the border. And your congressmen and your senators on the Republican Party side listened to the former president and said, no, we're not even going to put it up for a vote. We're going to wait because we choose at this time to put party over country. So the question I ask is, if immigration is that big of an issue, why didn't they sign it? Why did he stop it? Political gain. Political gain. That's in a nutshell. In a nutshell. And for anybody out there that's listening who is still on the fence about who you're going to vote for, I don't care if you're voting Democrat, I don't care if you're Republican, do what you do. But I'll ask this question. Do you want someone in office overseeing everything that goes on with this country, from nuclear secrets and so on and so forth, again, overseeing these again, when he is more concerned about how he is viewed in the eyes of dictators and the people in this country, that he would stop the most comprehensive immigration plan ever written for this country to try to give him a leg up to win an election? Choose wisely. Choose wisely. I just, oh man. John Chaney, Some people are choosing to stay ill-informed. Ill-informed. I don't think ill-informed is one way to put it, but I'm going to say it in a way that resonates with me and my experiences. They don't choose to stay ill-informed from my viewpoint. White is right. I said it. White is right. No matter how wrong, no matter who it affects, no matter how bad it may be, white is right. At me if you want. That's where I'm at today. But let me put this out here, and then I'm gonna wrap this up. But I had this one thing I really wanted to talk about. Not that I didn't talk about everything else, but Oklahoma. In deep red Oklahoma. Now I want y'all to listen to this real close. A state that Donald Trump carried by 33% in the 2020 presidential election. Republican State Superintendent Ryan Walters has ordered on June 27th that all public schools must have Bibles in the classrooms for grades 5 through 12. Oklahoma is saying that all classrooms from the grades of 5 through 12 must have a Bible in the classroom. But that's not where it ends. Since the order was handed down, Oklahoma public schools have been scrambling to make sure they have Bibles on hand. And according to the Oklahoman, the Bible that most easily fits Walter's requirement is the Trump Bible. Watch this now. The Trump Bible is singer Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA Bible, which Trump has endorsed and been making from. Greenwood's Trump Bible sells for $60 each online, and Trump has been receiving fees for his endorsement. And the cost of Oklahoma could come out to $3.3 million or more to put these Bibles in the classrooms in Oklahoma. $3.3 million or more. Yes, ma'am, Deborah Harris. What? Follow me now. Watch this. Not just a Bible, just not any Bible. Here's where it gets deeper. Oklahoman reports Jennifer Palmer, Paul Moynes, and Heather Warlock note that when bids opened for a contract to supply 55,000 Bibles to the Oklahoma Department of Education, there was very specific criteria. Now, let me stop there before I read this. Anytime there's a contract put out for bid, there's specific requirements that they ask for that you need to fulfill in order to bid on the contract. According to the bid documents, the journalist explains, vendors must meet certain specifications. Here they are. Bibles must be the King James Version, must contain the Old and New Testaments, must include copies of the Pledge of Allegiance, Declaration of Independence, U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, and must be bound in leather or leather-like material. You can't make this up. Now, we were just talking about money, going to wars and all this immigration, all the stuff we talked about with money. $3.3 million for 55,000 Bibles in schools in Oklahoma for 5th through 12th grades with specific things that it has to contain. Now, I want everybody, when you get off here today, to go get your Bible out your drawer, because I know everybody still keeps by the nightstand. Pull your Bible out and ask yourself, when have you seen a Bible that contains these things on a normal bookshelf when you go to buy one? Watch this now. Bibles must be the King James Version. Check. You'll find it in the store. Must contain the Old and New Testaments. Check. You find that in the store. Must include copies of the Pledge of Allegiance. Hold up now. Hold up now. Declaration of Independence, U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, and must be bound in leather or leather-like material. These are the requirements for the Bibles, for you to bid, to be able to bid on supplying these Bibles, 55,000 Bibles, to the schools in Oklahoma. Palmer, Moynes, and Warlock continue. A salesperson at Mardell Christian in Education searched And though they carry 2,900 Bibles, none fit the parameters, but one Bible fits perfectly. Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA Bible, endorsed by former President Donald Trump and commonly referred as the Trump Bible. Oklahoma's relationship with the Trump Bible is receiving a lot of discussion on X, which is formerly Twitter. The Washington Post's Megan McArdle tweeted, "This is beyond gross. Not just the grift, but the fact that a government institution is requiring a religious book come bedecked with our founding documents, which offends me as both an American and a Christian. A violation of the separation of church and state in spirit, if not in law." Ex-user at, and I can't remember the name, this is what they said: "I'm a patriot and devout Christian, but funneling state funds to a political campaign in the name of religion is exactly why Christ overturned the tables in the temple. Cut this nonsense out, people. You can't make this up." Jacqueline Diggs Barnett, good morning. Sounds like a sole source procurement. Yes, it does. Sole source. Boy, you brought back some memories. Sole source procurement. Wow. But y'all, we out here caught up on immigration. When we got if you live in Oklahoma, I don't know nobody. Yeah, I know a couple people live in Oklahoma. If you live in Oklahoma and you're not upset about this happening in your school district, them spending $3.3 million on Bibles that contain the Declaration of Independence, the Pledge of Allegiance, the U.S. Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. First of all, church and state are supposed to be separate. Supposed to be separate from what I recall. But they want Bibles in all these classrooms, 55,000 Bibles to be exact. I'm gonna close out on that one. Nothing else I can say. I just wanted to make sure that I gave you the information, because I know a lot of y'all didn't know about that. But these are the things going on that while everybody, and let's just say this. I'm gonna put it this way and I'm gonna wrap this up. We got somebody willing to pay $3.3 million or more for 55,000 Bibles, which contains the New King James Version, the Old and New Testaments, copies of the Pledge of Allegiance, Declaration of Independence, U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and must be bound in leather or leather-like material. And rather than us being concerned about what's going on in Oklahoma, that could happen in Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Florida, could happen in any of these other states because they might set a precedent in Oklahoma. You know what y'all out there worrying about? Why P. Diddy had over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely keep your faith in God. I'll be back again next week. All I'm doing is putting the information out there. You do with what you want. I love y'all, and I'm out. Peace.